I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, you and George really saved my bacon that time.
Seems like things are going well. And no wonder, they haven't seen each other in half a year. A year and a half.
Is that Rean I sense lurking out there?
Oh? Why don't you come in, silly?
Looks like I underestimated you. Angelica, that's my thing. Seems like you've been sharpening your martial arts skill, eh, Angelica? Yeah. I went and visited a bunch of different schools that have connections to Taito. I think I've pretty much packed my head full of kung fu by now. No wonder your movements are so sharp now. You were able to meet with your master again, right? Yeah, she's from Calvert, so it's pretty hard to get over there to see her. I was able to talk with her about quite a few things while I was there. Huh. I went around Liberal, Referia, Orand, Laman, Arteria. Then from there I was able to make it to the central eastern point of the continent. But Eastern Zumeria is kind of a tough nut to crack. I've only heard stories. It seems like the... What? Seems like the dissatisfaction has gotten... What? Desertification has gotten worse. And there's less and less land where people live. That's why there's been such an influx of immigrants moving to Calvert. Actually, Master Cafe, my teacher, is there right now. Is that so? Just what I'd expect from the founder of the 8 Leaves School. I asked the local guild branch out there, and they said it'd take me half a year to get to the east by land. I was worried about what was going on at home here too. Unfortunately, I had to give up on heading that way. Master Kafai said something like that in a letter to me. The dragon veins are nearly depleted. Those were the only words he used. I was actually talking about this with George. If it's even possible to use our technology to support Eastern Zumeria and stop the desertification there, when things are finally settled here and done in the Empire, it might be something for us to look into. I should have got a bottle of water before starting this. So I'm gonna be right back and grab a water. I'm professional! Super professional! I forgot it. That only took a moment. Be quiet, phone. Sarah? Can't sleep? Not exactly. It's just that there's so much going on, I need to sort all my thoughts. I know how that is. Henry, how about you have a little drink with me before bed? Sometimes, a little room to breathe is all you need to sort yourself out. I agree with that. I'll pour you a bit. This stuff will really kick you in the teeth. So you should probably just dip your tongue into it to start. You weren't kidding. 96, only 96 proof, not that
It's
strong.
spiritus. Liquor from Northumbria. Said to be the strongest drink in the world. Guess it's kind of hard to get much stronger than 96% though, huh?
If I'd taken a sip of this, I'd be already on the floor. I mean, yeah, it's a strong proof, but I could have actually, well, I drink, so I could handle it.
Right? I knew you'd be able to appreciate it. Never thought the day'd come when I'd get to talk with you over drinks like this. That new Class 7 of yours, they're a good bunch of kids.
Yeah, but they've still got a long way to go. I'm struggling as an instructor, too. I just wish I could guide them a little better.
They're all pretty unique kids, just like you guys were. But I know things will work out for you.
I'm thinking this Muse is a witch.
I mean, come on. They were all so worried about you, they ran headlong after you.
I'm sure they had a bit of a push from a certain someone.
You already knew, didn't you? Who those purple Jaegers are.
I had an idea. Yeah. But they said brought back some complicated feelings. At first I wasn't sure, but when I saw your reaction, I knew.
That's so. Guess I've still got a ways to go myself in that case.
Back then, during the war, I couldn't do a thing. I spent all my time getting rid of all the archaisms they had set loose on the city. Oh, that's Sarah in the picture. With the dress and the way the hair is, and it's sepia tone. I thought that was Laura with him, but no, that's Sarah. If I'd captured them, North Ambria's government would have called for a ceasefire. I could have stopped the annexation.
That's a nice little scenario, Rean. But you know it's a load of bull, don't you? The annexation of Northumbria was done under the Imperial government's orders. Way I hear it, General Le Guin agreed to take the place over to keep the provincial armies from being disbanded.
Huh. Seems like things are a little more complicated. So if they didn't take Northumbria, they would have disbanded the provincial armies, and the provinces would have been hung out to dry.
The outcome was decided from the start.
That's...
In the middle of that farce of a war, you managed to save the lives of tens of thousands of citizens. And the Jaegers you met today? I think they know that. But maybe it was impossible from the start. Fixing a country already being destroyed from within by Jaegers. You probably knew that too.
Who?
Whoopsie. Well, you see, he was... he was my first love.
Really?
Well, actually, he was the closest thing I had to a dad. Way back during the Northumbrian disaster, when the salt pail covered so much of the Principality in a storm of salt, a man took in an orphaned infant. He was a former colonel in the army, and one of the people who founded the Northern Jaegers.
So you have a pretty similar situation to Fee. Just some orphaned girl wandering battlefields, and Rutger took her in.
As soon as I was old enough to understand anything, I knew that Jaegers who came back with foreign currency were considered heroes. The man who raised me was one of the leaders of the Northern Jaegers, the heroes of our homeland. I looked up to my dad more than anyone. Wanting to be just like him, I joined a juvenile Jaeger Corps at the age of 10. After a few years of harsh training, I was admitted to the main corps at the tender age of 13. It was there that I experienced my first real battle. It was hell. A field of death, where lives are tossed aside to satisfy someone else's desires. There I lived, smoke and blood painted across my body. And there I stayed, eventually becoming the Jaeger known as the Purple Lightning. But after a while, it reached a point where I couldn't take it anymore. When I was 18, I was assigned command of a squad. We had a mission near Erebonia, fighting some proxy war on behalf of the nobles. The enemy was Needhogg. My squad was destroying them, but just when we thought victory was ours, Our efforts to avoid dragging any civilians into the fight left us open to a counterattack. We got hit hard. And then my dad showed up and saved me. Even though he was serving as the commander for the entire Corps, he came to our rescue and suffered a fatal injury for it.
Do you see now? This is the fate of all Jaegers. You must think long and hard on whether you wish to continue down this path.
It could have been because he was once part of the Principality's army, but he was quite the gentleman. Now that I think back, he never seemed to like the fact that I became a Jaeger. Anyway, he left me with those final words and passed away in my arms. I screamed and screamed until my voice gave out, until I passed out from utter exhaustion. When I woke up, I was in an Imperial Army camp.
Was that when Instructor Beatrix treated you?
Yeah. Apparently they were there to check on the damage caused by all the Jaegers fighting. Neidhart and Mueller-Vander, who were both second lieutenants back then, were there too. They told me the battle had been over for a while, and all my comrades had already packed up and left for home. Hadn't even thanked them before rushing back to my hometown. And what greeted me when I got there were celebrations and congratulations from my friends and the townsfolk. We had lost my father, but we won the war we were hired for. The nobles had given us an enormous pile of Mira. That meant we wouldn't die of starvation during the coming winter. I was relieved, but my tears just wouldn't stop. In order to save my hometown from poverty, I covered myself in the smoke of war and the blood of innocents in foreign lands. Seeing the smiles on the faces of everyone in town and knowing the cost cut me deep. It was right then that I decided to quit being a Jaeger and leave my hometown. I joined up with the Bracer Guild, knowing I could put my combat skills to work and make some decent Mira if I hit A rank. That way I could send some money back home, money that wasn't stained with blood.
Yeah, there's still some shady side of things in Bracers. I finally understand the true origin of your strength and kindness.
I'm not strong or kind. But I think I've finally started to get closer, little by little. Closer to being like the man I admired so much, my dad, my commander, and my first love.
It all makes sense now. No wonder you fall for all the silver foxes.
Yeah? No getting around the fact that I've got myself the daddy of all father complexes. But you know, lately I found myself attracted to some younger guys. You got me talking too much. You don't watch yourself, you could make a real dangerous womanizer. Well, with that, I bid you good night and sweet dreams.
I can't tell if she's being sincere or screwing with me. This wasn't all some dream. Oh well. I just assume I've been tricked by fairies on the eve of the summer festival. I'll assume there's something in the hangar cars. Not this one. Yeah, I can talk to Valimar. Can't sleep. Nah, I couldn't resist the sight of that gorgeous moon or the calming sound of the waves.
That thing I showed you is called Zector. Sorry, that's the most I'm gonna say on that one.
Does the name Zector ring any bells? I feel as though I faintly remember the name. Yes, only a small fragment. I remember something. 250 years ago, during the War of Lions, Zector was the name of the divine knight under the 6th Prince's command. Just as I thought. Lucius Rice Arner. He was the pilot of the Palatinate Knight. Jesus Christ. He did not pilot the knight. He actually awakened. The actual awakener was the legend leader of a mercenary group hired by the prince. He was a crafty individual, but he lent the power to the prince. I see. So there's a parallel between him and this Jaeger king. But wasn't the Palatinian knight destroyed by the Vermilion apocalypse? Palatinate. I'm gonna say Palatinate knight. Correct. As such, it's difficult to say whether the one you saw was the same one or not, but as long as the Black Workshop and the gnomes are involved, we can't rule anything out just yet. I wish I at least knew whether they're friend or foe. Considering their enemies are Ouroboros, they're not necessarily your enemy. You share a common enemy. You might have they might be working for the Imperial government. Just because they're working against Ouroboros doesn't necessarily mean we're on the same side. We simply need to pay close attention. If you come across any new facts, be sure to let me know. I shall recall more information. The Palatinate Knight. Interesting. This is the lounge car.
Why are you...
Something like that.
Okay. Let's go outside and check.
That's enough, Claire. Though you have the Chancellor's protection, your actions today are only going to come back to bite you.
You don't understand, Michael. Show
Who's
yourself.
That was careless. Forgive me, I didn't mean to overhear. Rean, so these two have a thing for each other. Schwarzer, I don't appreciate your eavesdropping, and I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. I came out to get some air. I've said my piece, but I advise you really think this over. Unless you want what happened 10 years ago to shackle you forever. I really am sorry. I just came out for some air. Well, I've got an early morning tomorrow, so I should probably... Rean... Can we talk for a minute? I want to continue our previous conversation. And we might as well do so in the light of the moon. You can tell me anything.
Michael, Major Irving is my cousin.
Oh, their family.
He was born Michael Revelt.
Huh. I see. You seem close.
We were, once. But 10 years ago, he took his mother's surname and abandoned the name Revelt. It was after I had the man who took my family away executed. That man was my uncle. His father.
So you have a very complicated relationship. His father killed your family, and you killed his father. What happened?
Perhaps you're familiar with the Revelt Company? They're known for making musical instruments. Well, they were originally located in St. Arc. My father was the president, and my uncle the vice president. The company was doing well, but more importantly, our family was happy. Until an horrible car accident. There weren't many of them on the roads back then. A stolen truck crashed into us. Then its driver disappeared into the night. In the end, they never found him. It became a cold case. My parents and my little brother died in that accident. But by some miracle, I survived, and my uncle's family took me in. After my father's death, my uncle took control of the company. Though I was grateful to him for taking me in, I couldn't help but ask myself, why was I the only one to survive? Soon after that, while looking through my father's things, I found the account books. Flipping through them, I noticed something strange. The Revelt Company prided itself on offering high-quality, carefully crafted instruments at an affordable price. But certain entries showed unbelievable spikes in profits. I had a feeling something was wrong, so I looked a little deeper. Each account book I read put things in starker relief. At last, I realized what my uncle had been doing right under my father's nose. He was making a fortune selling cheap, mass-produced instruments from abroad under the Revelt Company name. He even had the gall to commission a product he could sell as Maestro class to scam people out of even more money. I knew Father must have noticed his brother's wrongdoing and planned to question him. But before he could, the accident took his life. When I confronted my uncle about this, he was surprisingly candid. "You've got no proof. And if you did have any, I've got several powerful nobles ready to back me up should it come to that. Even if you talk, the most suspicious part of that accident is that you're the lone survivor. Good luck getting anyone to listen to you." I was angry, yes. But more than that, I was heartbroken. I didn't know what to do with myself. Until he showed up.
I was a friend of your father's in military school. I thought the accident seemed peculiar. Do forgive me for allowing you to suffer for so long on your own.
Somehow, he knew the truth behind the accident. But the fact that I knew took him aback for a moment. Until he said,
You have a gift, enhanced cognition. It allows you to grasp every detail, great or small, of any given situation in an instant. It must have awakened during the accident. I was going to mete out the murderer's punishment myself, but I've changed my mind. You have the means and the ability. Why not use them to avenge your family?
I was petrified when I heard this, lost. All I could see were the smiling faces of my parents and my beloved little brother. That's when I decided to take His Excellency's advice. I gathered every last scrap of evidence I could find against my uncle. I laid everything bare. The plot, the motive, the cover-up, the perpetrator. I had too much evidence to be silenced. I made my voice louder and louder until it reached Marquis Higharm's ears. Soon after, the nobles protecting my uncle stepped aside. My uncle's judgment was swift, harsh, and fair. He was put to death for his actions. I had my revenge. But it came at a price. I lost my family and my hometown. As soon as the company was in my control, I gave the rights to a longtime employee. All so I could enroll in the military academy suggested by His Excellency. All so I could enroll in Thor's.
Claire. I finally understand both why you hold Osborne in such high regard, and why, once in a while, I see sadness in your eyes. And it seems like Michael is worried about you. His tone may have been harsh, but it came from a place of concern.
You're right. It was sheer coincidence that we both joined the RMP. But he's always looked out for me, both as a superior officer and as a colleague. Not that I've ever felt like I deserved it. I gave in to my desire for vengeance and mercilessly sent my own uncle to his death.
Your uncle deserved it.
10 years ago, my aunt and my cousins cursed my name as I robbed them of the man they loved. I imagine they must still hate me for what I did.
I don't think so. At the very least, it's clear that Michael cares about you. Everyone who knows you well, even Instructor Sarah, who isn't your biggest fan, respects you too much to hate you. Milliam, Major Lecter, Elise, Princess Alphen, Yuna, the original Class 7, and me, of course. We all hold you in the highest regard.
Oh, you really are too kind. To be perfectly honest, you remind me of my brother.
What was his name?
Emile. His name was Emile. If he were alive, I think he'd be about your age. Thank you for hearing me out. But I think tonight is the last time I'll compare you to my brother. It's disrespectful, both to him and to the man you've become. Good night, Rean. Sweet dreams.
The writers really know how to tug at your heartstrings. What a day. I'm not surprised that I felt wide awake, but now it's weird that my heart feels so light. I get that feeling that I'm going back to sleep well tonight. Better head back to my room. Seriously, this game knows how to tug at heartstrings. The writers of this series in general, they were tugging at my heartstrings in the first game. Then what friggin' door can I go through? Door number 2.
Oh, this is nice.
Fill up those combat points. They may also be called craft points. I call them combat points because they just seem, it just sounds better. No, seriously, game, you need to stop making me feel so much.
This is truly an honor. Here, a reward.
A true gladiator belt. I'll take a look at that.
Keep it up.
An Abend sticker. And new material. Photo of Shan Shan. And Brave Soul. Photo of Ferris. And magic droplets. Well, I'm going to end this one here. Thank you all for watching. Join me next time on Trails of Cold Steel 3 as we continue our field exercise and focus on, well, RPG stuff. Until then, I'm the Dark Seraph, signing off.